Assalamu alaikum, our dear students. Today is our third lesson this week. The title of the lesson is Past Events Part 1, and it is in our Technical English 1 course book. To study this lesson, you have to go to the course book page 62. And the objective of our lesson today is extracting information from a reading text to find out when some important events happened. نص قراءة بنطلع منه معلومات ومنها بنعرف تواريخ بعض الأحداث المهمة. Before we start our lesson, let's look at some important vocabulary that we are going to need. What is this? This is a space station. Space station. محطة فضائية. And this is a telescope. Telescope. And this one is a satellite. Satellite اللي هو القمر الصناعي. This man, what is he doing? He is walking in the space, so we call it a spacewalk. Spacewalk. السير في الفضاء. This is called a space shuttle. Space shuttle. بيسمى بالعربي مكوك الفضاء، بيستخدموه للسفر للفضاء وبيرجع أكتر من مرة. Finally, the people who work on a space shuttle or a space station اللي بيشتغلوا على مكوك الفضاء أو المحطة الفضائية they are called crew. Crew. طاقم العمل. Now, let's look at the book, exercise 1. Okay, here. We need to know when did these events happen. Events أحداث حصلت إمتى. The first space station أول محطة فضاء. What do you think? Which year? Okay, try to guess. Number 2, the first telescope in space. Number 3, the first man in space. Number 4, the first space tourist. سائح فضائي. أول سائح فضائي. Number 5, the first satellite. أول قمر صناعي. 6, the first spacewalk. The first man on the moon. The first shuttle in space. The first crew to enter the International Space Station. أول طاقم يدخل International Space Station محطة الفضائية الدولية. المحطة دي موجودة في الفضاء وهي باستمرار وهي من التعاون بين مجموعة من الدول. And finally, the first European Navigation Satellite. Navigation Satellite قمر صناعي يستخدم في الملاحة. Okay, so we need to try to guess the dates when these things happen. When? Okay, so if we make our guess, we can read this chart and check our answers. Okay, as you see from the pictures here, this is the space shuttle, there is a satellite, and this is a spacewalk. So let's look at the 10 events. Number 1, the Russians launched Sputnik, the first satellite. So this is the first satellite, and when was it? Yes, on the 5th of October 1957. So number 1 here, 1957. Where should it go? For number 5 here. So here we should write the year 1957. Now let's look at number 2. Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. The first man in space on the 12th of April 1961. So this date should go to number 3. Very good. So the first man in space was in 1961. Number 3. Lenovo made the first walk on space. Leonov made the first walk in space. 1965. So this goes to number 6, 1965. Number 4, the first men, Armstrong and Aldrin, landed on the moon, and this was in 1996. So this should go to number 7. Number 5, the Russians, Rus, launched the first space station, Salyut 1, 1971. So this goes to number 1. Number 6, the Americans put the first shuttle into space. So this happened in 1981, and this piece of information, this date, should go to number 8. The first shuttle in space, 1981. Number 7, NASA sent the Hubble telescope into space. So this is the first telescope, 1990. Number 2. Number 8, the first crew entered the International Space Station on the 2nd of November 2000. So this date should go to number 9. Number 9, in the events, the first space tourist flew into space on the 28th of April 2001, and this should go to number 4, space tourist. Finally, the Europeans launched Galileo, a global navigation satellite, 2005. So this date should go to number 10. Very good. Now, finally, let's check the answers. Number 1, space station, the first space station in 1971. The first telescope in space, 1990. The first man in space, 1961. The first space tourist, 2001. The first satellite, 1957. The first spacewalk, 1965. The first man on the moon, 1969. The first shuttle in space, 1981. The first crew to enter the International Space Station, 2000. And finally, the first European navigation satellite, 2005. So now, after we made our guess here, we read this chart, and from here we could know or find out when these events happened. So this was our objective for our lesson today. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to answer the homework after you watch the video. Thank you so much. You have 24 hours to answer the homework.